Boy, Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am, but right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Hello, Star Wars fans. You know, there's just 327 days until Christmas 2024. And I had a business call over here I need to jump onto real quick. So I'm going to introduce Jason and Meg and let them take control. You guys behave yourselves. I'll be right back.
All right, Meg, we can do whatever we want on Star Wars Santa Show. What are we going to do?
So,
We've always dreamed of this moment. We've always dreamed of this.
Did you see the alien bodies?
Which ones? Those little weird little mummy guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched like this analysis of it though, and the bones don't make sense to each other. The bones like how bones would like work, and some of them line up with chicken bones. So
It's all fake.
it's all that one's definitely not gonna pan out. Even the like grifters and the UFO stuff, they're like, nah, on that one. It would be cool though if there were little tiny, little alien mummy friends to have, little Babu Fricks running around just being jerks, but nah, unfortunately not. Hey, how is the old chat doing? We got Skywalkers, we got some Griff, we got some, who else we got? Mike. Hey Mike, how's it going? And yeah, so what do you guys want to talk about in the chat? Because this is our show. See, we can't talk about anything we were supposed to talk about because Santa's not here, and then he's going to be like, "Ho, how dare you talk about whatever?"
Did you see they announced an Ahsoka comic series?
The covers look good, right? I saw that I saw like a couple of the covers. I think the first 3 I saw or something like that, and that was it makes sense. Is that I think it might be the same people who do the Mando comic, probably adapting that. I'm not positive about that, but it's what it looked like. And I think that kind of stuff is cool. Because I used to, when I was like a kid, they used to always adapt every movie into a comic. Like Indiana Jones. I read the Indiana Jones adaptations and stuff. It was cool. So I appreciate them doing that.
I've got a bit of a hot take with covers of books under Disney Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the art style doesn't really match the tone of a lot of things, especially with the High Republic books.
Yeah, High Republic is, I think, flailing in the sense that it needs that live action injection of. I know that the actual designers from the films and the shows work on designs for that. I know that they have like in their sort of Bible and stuff, but I think until we start getting the live action stuff really going, I think that stuff's going to be pretty EU like in that way. But you back, Santa? Because we can't hear you. Santa, you're too quiet, Santa. You know what? I want you this year, Santa. It's 2024, and I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to speak up for Santa on your own show.
I turned things down because my call over here, and then I forgot to turn that back up. So thanks. No, I missed anything super fun?
Oh yeah, it was great.
Oh yeah, all the fun. I've been reading
about alien mummies. You missed it.
I've been reading the High Republic, and this third wave started off really great, great. The first one was I think they should have done it in order 1, 2, 3. and I mean, 2, 1, 3 chronologically. I think they should have done it chronologically, but they did it, Star Wars style, 2, 1, 3 instead of 1, 2, 3.
Okay, Sam. So I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
So let's pretend it's 2006
Okay.
or late 2005. Star Wars is just episodes 1 to 6.
Okay.
Can I understand Wave 3 of the High Republic without any other context?
You could understand it, but boy, you'd be hard pressed to know what's going on. They because it picks up. It'd be akin to coming in and watching Revenge of the Sith without watching the first 2 movies.
Okay.
It'd be like that. You'd be like, okay, who are these guys and what's going on, right? But you'd figure it out, right? You'd figure it out. But any reference to the Clone Wars or clones or anything from the past, you wouldn't know what.
But would you say that about A New Hope? If just pretend like all 6 movies came out in order, and then A New Hope came out and it mentions the Clone Wars, would you still say that in that instance because it mentions
No,
the Clone Wars?
I just mean
is it
like
stuff like that or no? Or
no, like the trilogy, right? The prequel trilogy has a beginning, middle, end, right? It'd be like picking up in the 3rd movie of the trilogy, not the.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So it'd be the same if you picked up with Return of the Jedi. Luke Skywalker's coming in and Han's in carbonite. You're like, okay. And and Leia would come in and it's somebody who loves you. Okay. She's got a girlfriend. You'd figure it out, right? But you wouldn't have the full context of what happened. So that's sort of the deal. It's they're in the midst of big things happening. You wouldn't necessarily know why. You'd figure it out. They do a good job. The books are really good. But
I feel so disconnected from High Republic fans. They talk about High Republic, and you wouldn't even know it was the same franchise.
Oh, it's so good. It really is. The Jedi in there, they're just fantastic. It's all the Star Wars. Of all the other series I've read, the only one I put, sort of, outside, like if you call it EU, for example, or Legends, right? Of all the Legends books I've read, of all the High Republic books, I'd say they're as good or better than any of the Legends material I've read. Absolutely. So I mean, take that for what it is. I think they're great, and I haven't read the comics as much. I saw Fitz has been keeping up with them more, but I've just been reading the books, and man, those stories are good. They're just really good, and it is. I mean, it's Star Wars through and through. But I think they made a huge mistake in starting in the middle trilogy. Right. Had they started at the beginning with the sort of the prequel era of it, you would have some idea of what was happening all of a sudden instead of being dropped in the middle. I think when you get into the very first High Republic book, they started right off with a bang, and it was like trying to catch your breath. So many names and so many things going on. It was just overwhelming. You can't keep track of who's who and what's what and what's going on. Had they started the other way and built up through, when that happened, you'd had some context. Oh, wait a second. I know who these guys are. Wait a second. You wouldn't necessarily know everybody. You would have at least a foundation to build on, though. And then this third series, by the time you've gone through the first 2, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. To
me, it's just not Star Wars. It's something very different. It lacks the heart, the storytelling, the hero's journey.
You've only read part of one book, right?
I've only read Light of the Jedi, and I've read a few comics. They just feel like complete fan fiction.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm
They sound
saying.
like people who just wanted to throw in some lightsabers and some silly bug-looking dinosaurs and call it Star Wars.
Well, I think that's the thing though is, and I'm not telling you to go read all of them. You don't like them, don't read them by any means. But that's what I'm saying. Light of the Jedi, that very first one, was the wrong place to start. I think certainly in this, there is even in that first wave, there's a book in the middle there that Kevin Scott wrote that is as Star Wars as any book I've ever read. It gets the heart of the Jedi right. It gets the heart of Star Wars right. It gets everything spot on the nose. It's kind of edge of your seat action. There's suspense and drama. There's consequences. People of note die. It's really good book. But they started with Light of the Jedi, and I think that was the problem.
Do you know what's fantastic? Leslie Headland is going to throw all of that out the window.
I don't know because
no, she won't, because there's a huge like I said, like there's like a Bible of the era, and that Bible has the all of the content, all of that stuff, all of their scripts before they ever filmed anything, as well as art and stuff like that done by like Doug Chang art for it and stuff like that. But the problem is, I think until it sees the screen, until it has more reference, you only have like a translation of some art. That's not the same as having all of the props to draw off of and the reference and stuff like that. So I do think it will get better, but you know, in terms of design, I don't care about the story. I don't know. I haven't read the books, so I'm not even qualified to talk about it. It
seems like very different characters though, because they've got a Wookiee Jedi and it's not Buryaga, it's Kelnaka. So it seems like even if Leslie Headland is, you know, consistent with this era, it's going to be different to the books.
Well, like, you raised a really good point.
Chris or any of these characters from the books.
Yeah, it's also not going to tie into Plagueis. For the sake, I saw your video about this. It's not going to do that. No, 100% it won't. It absolutely won't. It can't. And there's lots of reasons for it. Like it's.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, it's 50 years before the prequels.
Yeah,
50 years. Plagueis doesn't get on the scene until well after that. So he's not in.
What Leslie Headland said at Star Wars Celebration. She says she wants to emphasize that it takes place at the end of the era, and that she's really trying to set the scene for how the Jedi are by the time of the Phantom Menace.
It's still going to be more than 50 years before the prequels.
But Plagueis is around. Plagueis is still alive.
But here's something to consider. Looking at the rollout of the past, right?
Yeah.
We had Mandalorian, the series, come out. Snoke still hasn't shown up. How many videos are we into Snoke is coming next episode, right? We're hundreds of videos about Snoke is coming in the next episode. Something like that. Some equivalent, right? And then now we have we have 4 series or almost 4 seasons of a show. 2 to 3 movies coming for the Mando. We still haven't seen Snoke. He hasn't even been mentioned yet. We don't even know what that is if we're just following that. But then we have it graduating, is that in quotations, from a series into a film now. And then so the big stuff for Mando is being saved for the movies.
Well,
so if they're going to go make 5 seasons of High Republic stuff, there is no way in heck they are going to go and put Plagueis in season 1. There's no way.
Okay, but Jason, there's a big difference between Snoke and Plagueis. Fans actually like Plagueis.
Well,
no,
Meg,
Meg, we don't make Snoke videos because people don't care about Snoke still. They still get excited for the Snoke. Don't you agree? Am I wrong on that? I mean,
I'm trying
if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But
I'm trying to be 100% real because we know that a High Republic character is in it. A Jedi from the High Republic books is in it. She's already been filmed. She's cast. She's part of the crew, and that puts it way closer to the High Republic, the period that we've been reading. She's in the Light of the Jedi. That was she was like 15, 16 years old there. In this in the Acolyte, she appears to be in her 20s, maybe 30s at most. If let's say that it's 15 years after the events of that Lie of the Jedi, that is right on the back of that. It is way far away from the prequels still. And
But Santa Plagueis was 115 when he died.
Yeah,
so,
but
no. We don't know what Plagueis was when he died. We have no idea in canon. We have in canon. We don't.
It was in the Rise of Skywalker reference guide.
Yeah, the reference guides are the first thing that breaks so far.
Well,
the reference guides in all of them. I'm with you, Meg. I'm with you on that. In that okay, you have evidence for it, so I will. But at the same time, I'm still like that is the easiest thing to break is a line in a reference guide.
Oh,
so how
not
about
only that,
Tenebris, the one before Plagueis?
I don't even think he exists.
You could get Tenebris. You could, but I think the most you'll get, absolutely, is some reference to Damask Holdings, and that'll be the absolute most you'll ever get in the Acolyte.
I think that's generous, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I think Damask Holdings even being a thing is one of the least likely things to even be a real thing in the end. But I'll meet you both in the middle. Is what Leslie Headland is talking about is the actual corruption of the Republic itself. Because in this series, as we go through the stuff, we're going to see that the Trade Federation is being bought off. The corporations are being set against democracy, and they are moving towards an oligarchy. That is what Leslie Headland is going to put into that show. So when she says that quote, that I don't have the exact quote, but the quote that Meg mentioned, that's the one where that's what it's moving towards. That is the most easily given of all of it. I would say it's going to be corruption. Just generally speaking, that's what. And then it's a suspense mystery thriller. So you're not going to go in the first episode, especially, and have him go, well, it's Darth Plagueis and he's just going to destroy the Republic. It's going to be crime 1 leads to crime 2 leads to this is my prediction, not like anything I know. My prediction is crime 1 leads to crime 2 leads to crime 3. By the end of the season, it's like, something way more serious than we actually could have thought is going on. And then it goes on from there. And I've heard that show was supposed to be multiple seasons, but it doesn't even matter what I heard, because when that producer sued them over the credit and leaving her job, she actually, even in that lawsuit, talked about the multiple seasons of the show that they were planning. So there, once again, there's no way that they're going to go and shoot just put it all out there in season 1. They got to do something that makes it intriguing. They can't do the old Disney Plus thing that they were doing with Marvel and Star Wars, where trust us, bro, we're going to get there eventually. You want Daredevil? Well, look at this Native American superhero. Like, they're not going to do that with it, I hope. However, the series was written during that era of Star Wars, or of Disney, I should say. So we may end up with that in the first season. It's I hope that's not the case. But
Jason, I think with Plagueis, I think it's going to be at the end. I predict all of what you said is true. It's a murder mystery. They're trying to figure out who attacked that Jedi Master, and we know Manny Jacinto's character is most likely the Sith who lures Stenberg's character. Yeah, but I think it's like the mastermind behind all of that. It could be like a last second in the last episode hint, like there's something else going on.
The last episode of the 5th season, maybe. There's no way it's happening. No way. And you got to also keep in mind, at least 30-40% of the Plagueis novel is already retconned out of existence. So most of that book, well, a significant portion of that book is completely irrelevant to whatever's going on. We have references to him. We know that, in the prequels, there was the reference of Darth Plagueis the Wise. In the Rise of Skywalker reference book, how much information is in that about Plagueis? A name mention? Does it give, like, from BBY 450 to BBY 300? Does it give you anything like that?
Nothing. Not even his speeches.
Yeah, so
I will say though, if James Luceno ends up with writer's credit on an episode, then I totally walk it all back, and Plagueis is showing up any minute, you know.
Again, the mask holdings, maybe. I just don't see it happening. And the in Tenebris, maybe. But I think as well there, and I can't remember right off the top of my head right now what his other name was. Darth Tenebris was his.
Just like my opinion, though, of that whole thing is if you have a guy who's supposed to potentially have the ability to stop people from dying, to the pathway towards immortality in some way or something like that, and we want to believe maybe he has this, and maybe Palpatine even believes he has it when they first meet, like all of that kind of stuff, you know. I don't think making the guy a weird alien and then saying he's only 100 years old, but Chewbacca's 800, Chewbacca's 800 or 200, Yoda's 800. And this guy, there's only 150 because we don't want to be ridiculous. So I'm just of the opinion that if I was going to go write it, I would make Darth Plagueis be like 500,000 years old or something. Because at that point, because you might as well have it be equal to what you're dealing with like a Yoda, you know what I mean, and stuff. And then it makes the thing of, oh, maybe this crazy guy does know some stuff that Palpatine never learned, and you know what I mean? And then maybe Palpatine's whole thing where he goes and he kills the guy in his sleep because it was the most convenient time to get ahead is what keeps him from ever truly figuring out his plan. That does sound like some Sith Lord self-sabotage on accident. But that's what I would do. So Leslie Headland, if you want to, you know, maybe get some Starbucks and talk about how to do it right, I'm just going to my phone number. You can just get it.
He mentioned nothing's truly retcon. I'll say all of the content in the Plagueis novel of Palpatine and Maul is completely wiped out. Like how Maul comes into existence, Maul's training, all of that is completely done away with out of that book. Doesn't exist in the Clone Wars animated series. We see how Maul comes about. We see how his training comes about. We see how he rises to where he is. In everything in the book's wrong. So it's and that's a major part of, I think, Palpatine beginning to start the idea that he could knock off Plagueis to begin with. So in any event, let me bring this up out of Meg's video. And you posted this, Meg, and it came from this dude, Economics Legal, that absolutely had solid sources or solid information before. So we have every reason to believe that the dude is knowledgeable. He is saying the Acolyte's going to start releasing episodes late May or early June 2024, which is a bit earlier than what I think we were discussing. I think Bespin was involved with the discussion, thinking that it was going to be later in the summer, but that's certainly welcome news, May or June. And then I think today you speculated, might they release a trailer for it in the Super Bowl? No. I think that would be super early. Yeah.
Well, it's not only that it's too early; it's that we know that most likely it won't happen, because I was waiting for the rumor to start hitting everywhere, even though it probably cannot be true, because I think that there's a Groundhog Day Lay's or a chip brand promotion going on at the Super Bowl, and I heard it has like some ridiculous amount of spots, like 11 or something, and Disney sold their extra time to them. So when you look at the TV shows, there's never been a Mandalorian Super Bowl spot, I don't believe, and it's super expensive. It's a better place to release your stuff near, like, when your show is releasing at the big sports ball game at that time, whatever that series happens to be. And so it'd be great if it did happen. I think the best thing that we could expect is, and I'm not saying to expect it, but the best thing we could expect is a Disney Plus what's coming in 2024 style ad. And maybe in it we see something like one shot of it or something like that. I think that's I think that's might be hoping for too much even, but that's
maybe a Disney Plus generic ad that shows Star Wars and Marvel.
Yeah. But what do you think, May? Do you think it seems reasonable?
I'm so fascinated by the Acolyte, just in every sense. It feels like when the Clone Wars series came out, it feels like there's one section of the fandom who is absolutely anticipating this with all their might. The same way the prequel fans at the time, in 2008, were a very small minority of the fan base. And in this case, that's High Republic fans or
I was so
fans
lonely,
like us
Meg. I was so lonely until you guys came along.
I know. And then there's the rest of the fandom who's kind of, I know this sounds very like sinister, but I feel like a lot of the interest in the show is going to be from fans who are just very curious and almost expecting it to do badly. We've already seen how, fans are crapping all over the show before it's even out. So I'm actually really interested to see how the fandom's going to react if it's a good show and it kind of subverts what we expect from it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I am very excited, mainly because of some of the stuff Jason's told us, that this is where they've kind of put all their eggs in this basket, right? And this is the show they're counting on. So if that's the case, then it's definitely intrigued me. I'm a fan of the High Republic era as a whole. And I've been enjoying this third wave of the High Republic that will have a couple more books released before then. And it's going to get a lot closer. The books are going to get a lot closer to where the Acolyte is starting by the time the Acolyte comes out. So we're going to be a short distance. And Venestra Rowe, which is the character that's in the High Republic, that's in the Acolyte, Venestra Rowe, she hasn't been all that present in the books yet, and I'm excited to read. There's another book coming out. I think I don't have the schedule.
Venestra Rowe sounds like Viagra for rowers.
No, she's interesting. But
keep going. I thought I couldn't do it, but now I can do it because I took Venestra.
Jason, you need to go pick up a pack of some V-Row from the pharmacy.
You guys,
I am 44. It is getting to be that time.
I'm excited to see where her story goes in the High Republic books as we get closer, because I know she's in the show. So you're right, Meg. There are a group of High Republic fans that are invested in the characters in the High Republic who would desperately love to see some of them show up. You mentioned before Buryaga. He's the Wookiee in he's a Wookiee Jedi in the High Republic era, but we don't have any indication that he's in the Acolyte. We don't know he's not, but we don't know he is. There is another Wookiee Jedi who's not him. So is there another Wookiee Jedi? Is Buryaga going to show up? Venestra's there. Certainly Buryaga.
Maybe he's a clone.
Maybe. But will any other characters come in? I don't know. From the books.
Yeah.
So you're right. There are a group of people who are invested in the books who are going to be excited to see what Leslie Headland brings into the Acolyte. Then there's another group who are disconnected from the High Republic books, have a negative or completely absent view of the books, who are coming at the Acolyte based on perception. Right, the High Republic era is not real Star Wars.
It's Christmas.
Leslie Headland is a woke agenda.
Nope. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're not acknowledging the evil.
I appreciate it. But so you are going to have a group of fans, Star Wars fans, who are going to come into that from a negative standpoint.
Did you see the George R.R. Martin quote from yesterday?
No.
It's Game of Thrones, but I think it's good to use the quote because it's not from Star Wars, so no one could feel personally attacked for their bad take.
I know what you're going to say. It's a good quote.
Yeah, he says, it used to be fun talking about our favorite books and films and having spirited debates with fans who saw things different. But somehow in the age of social media, it is no longer enough to say, I do not like book X or film Y, and here's why. Now social media is ruled by anti-fans who would rather talk about the stuff they hate than the stuff they love. And they delight in dancing on the graves of anyone whose film has flopped. It's all so sad. And that's the whole thing. But I think that's like our responsibility in one hand. I drop the ball all the time, but it's our responsibility to not go and go, oh, Mike Zero has a crap take. Like let's talk about it for 2 hours about how dumb he is and wrong he is, because you end up giving the least common denominator in the whole society like a platform to talk about their just dumb take or their bad experience. And on the flip side of it, I think you have like three on the Old Republic side. You have like three kinds of fans: High Republic fans who will buy anything with the SW logo on it. That's all it needs. And therefore it's my religion. I love it. It's great. Do not talk bad about it. And then the other side are the ambulance chasers. Let's wait for it to do something so we could all jump on it and get the pictures and do it, And then there's the other half that are just like, yeah, I buy this crap and I have a good time. I enjoy my life. Bye. Go live their life. And that's the healthy way to be.
The side of the fandom that we're talking about, they can't wait for the Acolyte, because every week they'll have content that proves in their mind their point, even if it doesn't. Because they'll be looking for Leslie Headland's so-called agenda, even for the most minor things. They're going to have a field day with this stuff.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And just for the record, I don't mind telling you that Darth Plagueis novel's trash. That's fine. It's got a Star Wars logo on it, but it's still terrible book.
You know what, though? I'll forgive a lack of Plagueis if Yoda or Yaddle make an appearance.
Yoda absolutely can and would be awesome if he did. Same with Yaddle. Yaddle, both of them have a presence in the High Republic novels, so it'd be great to have them come in, and that'd be a nice tie to between the. If you got Vanessa Rowe, right? I know Vanessa Rowe is in it. If you have her, then that opens up the door for Yoda, Yaddle, Buryaga, and others to come in. It'd be great. So
let me ask you this hypothetical. Yeah. So Kathleen Kennedy comes and gives Star Wars to you, me, and Meg. It's ours now. And we're like, okay, we control it. We're like the figureheads, okay? Mm-hmm. When it comes to Plagueis and the High Republic and stuff like that, he's such an opportunity to tie the High Republic conspiracy, if you will, into the prequels and then into the post Return of the Jedi, post Episode 9 territory, if you wanted to. Because it's not real. It's all made up. It's fantasy. And if the guy does have the power or any connection to any kind of power that was talked about and stuff like that, it's a big thing. I would be as conservative as they have been with Plagueis for that reason, because that is a big thing that ties the whole room together. It's the rug, man, that ties the whole room together of Star Wars. If you wanted to, you could do something with that really, really huge. And that's always been my fear, is that they put Plagueis in Episode 7 was like a fear of mine back in the day. Like, that is Plagueis. One of the big YouTubers, one of the biggest guys in YouTube, called me after seeing the movie before me and said, yep, he's Plagueis. I'm like, really? He's like, yep. And I saw the movie. I'm like, were you high? That was Snoke is not Plagueis. I don't know how you came to this conclusion. But let me just pause. Go ahead. But that's like a fear of mine, is that it's such an opportunity and everybody wants them to utilize the opportunity. But I'm afraid of them actually just writing, like Maul getting killed in Rebels. Loved it the night it happened, but now I look back on it, I'm like, oh man, like that was our Kenobi season 2 or a Kenobi finale, or you know what I mean? It was such a bigger thing that could have happened, that could have been a film. And in the end, it's like this small thing. It's cached. If we respect canon, it's cached. And so that's where like Plagueis, the stuff about it, I'm both like, yes, lean into it and do it. And then I'm also like, but don't just haphazardly do it because he's alive. Then, therefore, that's what I'm afraid of with it.
Yeah.
Would you do it? Would you hold it? Would you keep it?
I would.
What would you guys do with that power?
Well, I would have a big public ceremony where I brought all hundreds of copies of the Plagueis novel and then burned them all.
No, Santa. No, Santa. Old white guys on the internet cannot make jokes like that.
And then I would say, hey, we're going to write a brand new backstory for Plagueis. It's going to be fantastic. I hope you guys all tune in.
Mm-hmm. What was that, Meg?
Go ahead, Nick.
You're not going to like my idea.
Okay. No.
It's very fan servicey.
Okay.
But the Acolyte opens with a dialogue from the opening of the Plagueis novel, where Tenebris and Plagueis go to that mining planet with their with their protocol droid.
Yeah.
And in the prelude to, Plagueis killing Tenebris, Tenebris decides to tell Plagueis the story of the Sith struggle. And then the whole show becomes that story. Up until... You don't like that, Santa?
No. But go ahead. Up until...
I keep saying Manny Jacinto. I assume he's the Sith, but it'd be nice to kind of see the eras of the Sith Empire and then the Jedi Wars and all of that stuff. And then the big story being the one Leslie Headland wants to tell. But it's being framed as a Sith legend. And in the same way Palpatine told Anakin the story of Plagueis, Tenebris is telling Plagueis a similar story of betrayal and conspiracy.
No, that I would go into it. And one of my big problems, you guys know, with the Plagueis novel, and I joke about it. I'm having a lot of fun just being a turd, but at the same time, it's a big portion of the book is about Palpatine. And if I were able just to start from scratch and say, okay, we're going to do this story. It's going to be between the High Republic and the prequels called The Acolyte. It'd be about Palpatine. I would have a young Palpatine being mentored and guided by Plagueis. I would tell that story. That's what I would do. I
need the bad guys in Star Wars, like those Sith guys. I need there to be like a better like philosophical like grounding other than like power is strength and strength is power. I am Sith, like that kind of stuff. It's empty. Yeah. It's emptiness to me. But like when you get down to like Batman and you start to get down to like the philosophical like things of every villain, there is like something there, and you understand how like Batman could never meet up with Penguin. Batman can never meet up with stuff like that. Like, so I hope when they do develop that like the Sith backstory here, because even George Lucas introduced the idea, the bad guys never think they're the bad guys, or else they wouldn't do what they're doing. They do the wrong things for what they think are the right reasons, but it's not how it works. And like, so I hope that when they do that, I hope that, because like Palpatine is the one guy in all of it, they just made him Satan. There's never like even any kind of redeemable thing about Palpatine and all of that. And that would be the interesting thing, would be to show Palpatine as a young person with a lot of promise, and then to see that strip away as he forgoes humanity for power. Like there is a great story there to be told on screen. I would love it if they got the right actor and did it.
Yeah.
But Jason, I would argue that Palpatine was maybe a psychopath, but at the root of what the Sith stood for, it wasn't just evil for the sake of it. So, do you know Anton LaVey?
Yeah. Nirvana asked him to play cello on Nevermind, but he declined.
I didn't know that. That's cool. But it's kind of similar to that philosophy of like, I think the Sith are more aware of their mortality, and they're not as ashamed to lean in towards their appetites. Yeah, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, well, because like a lot of the stuff that you see like on the Anakin side and the Dooku side are both like, if somebody said, "Oh, come and do this thing, or your kids are going to die," I would go do the thing, and screw your government. Like I would do the thing for my kids. You could see why Anakin does the wrong thing. even though it's really the wrong thing. And Dooku as well. Dooku's not wrong. The Republic is compromised and it's pretty much over, but obviously the way he goes about it is civil war, which is wrong. You know what I mean? That is obviously like so you have like all of these like underpinnings of humanity with Sith Lord stuff, but I do think it needs a little bit more maintenance. I think if you know what I mean, but also it can't be so convincing that you're like, yeah, I buy into it. Like you can't have the kids buying into it, you know. But it has to like go to a point, and I think it's kind of Lucas sort of encroached on it, but then he's like literally just stops because it's like
obviously. But by its extension, I think to an extent George Lucas was using his own political views to kind of make a caricature of the things he was against that are reflected in the Empire.
Yeah, when he has the invisible hand crash upon the Republic's Senate's front steps, and then the next day it's an Empire, that is not an accident. That is, look up if you don't know what the invisible hand is. I don't want to give you guys an economics lesson. Look it up though.
Adam Smith.
The poetry is not an accident. It's not a coincidence.
Adam Smith. Funny story about that. I was a social studies major, political science, economics, and history. Yeah. And I was in my senior level, like 500 capstone course for economics. And the professor said, "Who in here has read Adam Smith?" I was the only student in the class that had read it. And it's you know, in an economics capstone class, like how do you get there without? It's just sort of funny. But no, I want to step in because we want to do a rundown of the news. We've had a fantastic discussion today, absolutely awesome. And I would not stop it except the title of the stream and the thing. Say we're supposed to talk about a thing. And you know, there's a couple of things with YouTube. One is I keep getting copyright claims a couple a day. They're slowing down, but I still get them all the time.
Are they from Nick Gillard? You see Battlefront updates and got copyright struck by Nick Gillard I was like, I feel so bad. That's so lame. I like Nick. So hopefully,
do you think there's a coincidence there? Like,
it might just be. I don't know. It might just be a boomer trying to use the internet, not understanding how to. Yeah. But I was like, because that's like Lucasfilm stuff, not his. Unless it's something I don't understand. It's like his own personal video or something that. I was like, how does that happen? But yeah, sorry, I'm taking you off topic again. I apologize.
The song in my intro, I bought the license for it and I filed it with YouTube and I did all the things. But there's a scam out there that happens, and same thing happened with my Darth Elvis outro song. Is there are people who can claim a song in another country, go to Argentina, and all of a sudden say, "This is my song. I own the copyright for it in Argentina." And anybody who's using that song gets the copyright claim, and then you've got to appeal it. YouTube will eventually figure it out, and they'll say, "Oh." And they'll shut that person down. Well, that person then just crops up somewhere else.
Yeah.
And does it again and do it over and over and over.
They probably are already doing it on multiple accounts anyhow. So closing them out business.
And Darth Elvis, Greg wrote that song specifically for me. It is a parody song and it's about my show.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I still got claims on it. So
has he ever do Hunka Hunka Burn in Love with like Anakin like slowly burning in the background? Like a montage? That'd be great.
That'd be funny. But no, so that's part of it. The other thing is early on when I was posting, I would get warnings from YouTube because my title and my description were reported as not being the content that we discussed. So it's like, hey, we're coming here to talk about Star Wars, and we spend 2 hours talking about anything else, not Star Wars, then you can get in trouble. So I just want to go down the agenda here kind of quickly because there's a lot to talk about. I think we've talked about Acolyte a ton, and I'm super excited about the Bad Batch, what's coming up. We are just under 2 weeks now just over 2 weeks just over 2 weeks until Bad Batch first 3 episodes come out, and Meg's been doing great videos about the Bad Batch and doing some speculation today. Meg, your video about how you're scared about our friend Hunter. What's going to happen to him?
I'm terrified of Hunter.
Yeah, terrified. I think that's a fair position to have. Is be terrified, because I think the chances of the Batch coming out intact at the end of the series is not good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's good at all. And all the comments about crying, and again, you posted it in your video today. It's not going to be good. I do think Omega will survive. She may be the only survivor at the end of the day from that group, and that's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for a lot of people.
Yeah, most episodes, either Hunter is the protagonist or Omega, and you obviously you won't kill both your protagonist.
And they're not going to kill Omega.
You're not going to kill was she 12-year-old kid or something?
Yeah.
So yeah, if we were just taking the bets just based off of that alone, Hunter's exponentially more likely to die than her.
Will Morgan still thinks she's Sleeping Beauty and she's going to be put in carbonite.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not buying it. Not buying it, Will, but we'll see. Maybe he's right. So
Darth Plagueis cloned himself. Palpatine killed the clone, and he unfreezes himself after episode 9. Is that what you're saying? Oh, sorry, I get excited.
I love that. That's great. So no, my question, and I want to come back to it. Maybe next week we can talk a lot more about the Bad Batch as we get a lot closer.
In Bad Batch Town, once we get
what's
to Bad Batch Town. Yeah.
What's the next thing that fills the shoes? So, like, we had the Clone Wars animated series, Rebels, Resistance, Bad Batch. What's the next multi-season, like I wouldn't count Visions or Tales of the Jedi, because Tales of the Jedi are short, like 6-9 episode kind of things. What's the next big animated series that Lucasfilm would go into after this? I think a lot of people would love to see something that happened after Return of the Jedi.
Jails of the Jedi. It's just old prisons that Jedi used to be in. It's like a documentary series. No, okay. Sorry. No, I'm a huge downer on this one. I think really more of the same and nothing. Disney Plus is pulling back on almost most everything. I don't know if they end up going right to a next series. I could see there being like, Tales of the Jedi stuff. I could see there being more Visions, but I hope they do a new series, but I could see them not doing a new series at the same time. I could see them not really right into it. Yeah. I mean, because all of the stuff that you have has been Dave Filoni stuff, like Bad Batch is like the show Dave Filoni was what would have done if he hadn't blown up. But there's not a lot of stuff on the table that's like that. There's not a lot of unresolved stuff when all is said and done. So I don't think there's an obvious thing that comes next, especially. But the big thing of hope is that Filoni is a big player at Lucasfilm now, or he has been, but he is right now at his peak of his powers. And he does come out of the animation stuff, so I think he would respect it and love it more than your average creator at Lucasfilm who just does live action or something or whatever. So there is that, but I don't know if we go right to getting the next animated show. I think they might give it a break.
That is a downer. It'll make me sad. I know it'd make Yachty sad too, right? Like that'd be terrible.
Sorry, it's not my idea. It's just the reading of the room.
Yeah, reading the room.
Mm-hmm.
Meg, what do you think? You have an opinion? Is there?
I think it might connect to Asajj Ventress somehow. They might continue like the early Empire.
Interesting.
I've really got no concrete theories.
I've got my own sort of tinfoil hat theories on it.
Enlighten us.
I'll keep them to myself for now.
Well, it's like look at what do you call it? What's what's that Star Wars show? The Lost in Space with the kids.
Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew would have been a great series for animation. Realistically, I'm not upset we're getting it in live action, but that is maybe the kind of show that should have went to animation. And maybe, the kids in Skeleton Crew aren't getting any younger, is what we always say. By the time they get to season 3, they're going to be 15 years old, something like that, probably, if they do a season 2. I don't even know if they will, but if they did. So maybe down the road, maybe having that go over to animation might be a way to continue their stories and their series. If it's just because we don't know anything about the show, it might just be a one and done. Skeleton Crew might be they go out, they get lost in space, they come home. Well, okay, if the show somewhat connects but isn't like huge, maybe that show has a future in animation of jumping that way. That's something they could consider, for what it's worth. Obviously, it's speculation, but
Astromech Jeremy's saying what I would want.
Mhm.
I would really want to see that era after Return of the Jedi up to Force Awakens, or I would say Mando for now, but that era following Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, R2, C3PO. Like, I would love to see that, but everybody keeps saying that's not going to happen. But it would be great. It would be great. And I have that's not my tinfoil theory. I'll save it for another day when we've got more time to go into tinfoil hat kind of stuff. But that leads us to a couple other news stories that kind of came out. Mando 4 the Mandalorian and Grogu and Rey movies are supposed to go into filming in this summer, like June, July timeframe. If Mandalorian and Grogu are going into filming, what's the perspective of a Mandalorian season 4 series? I know that we discussed it a little bit before. I heard it discussed as well, that they could always do overlapping filming because you got the same people, presumably a lot of the same sets, the same sort of locations. So you could shoot both. One doesn't necessarily preclude another, but it seems like maybe that series isn't going to happen.
There were days where shooting on Ahsoka, Mando 3, and Skeleton Crew were all going concurrently. So it's not what you're saying is it's in the realm of possibility.
Yeah,
but
more likely.
So I've done the rounds on this story, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say anything because the stuff is so conflicting that maybe for the first time feel like either they're just not being straight with some people about some things, or it's trying to figure out who's talking. I don't know what, but I would be very suspect of anybody who says one way or the other about anything, because I just am like of the whole thing right now. It's very confusing. But my expectation is that we are likely to see another Mando season. I do think that is very likely, but that's just my opinion. Yeah. That's just my opinion. That's not anything else than my opinion. So just to be clear.
Yeah. I think this might be dead, Jeremy, and I feel bad about it because I would like to see it, but that would be a good, right? Because they had that announcement, a droid story, but then it went dormant. We know that Anthony Daniels,
it's just crickets on that whole thing.
Yeah, it's like gone. I think it may have just died. Again, we'll get back to the discussion more.
Or it's going to be on that Apple headset, and they just haven't got to it. No, I'm not joking. It's an IL. It was whatever ILM X Labs calls themselves now.
Yeah.
It was going to integrate the use of that sort of VR tech in order to make a movie and all this stuff like that. And I was just always tacitly under the opinion that you're going to be able to watch it on Disney Plus, and you were going to be able to watch it in VR from some other unique perspectives where you can. And I think that's what their idea was.
No, nobody can afford to buy that thing.
No, that's why it's so dumb. It costs $3,500. I'd love to have one, but by the time the 5 companies who can develop for it, by the time the price comes down on it, those companies are going to be out of the business of that stuff because they're not ever. They're going to sell 5 of them. So they could develop all they want. They're going to sell 5 copies of the software. It's so
right.
It's so and you can get an Oculus Quest 3 for $500, and its field of view is still better.
Well, and you could buy 10 of them, and be able to have a party in your house and everybody watch like a movie like you're at the theater, at the same time together. And, it's just crazy. One more topic I wanted to bring up, and it's a bit of old news, but I wanted to bring it up because Hasbro have another line that they've started developing for, and this goes back to all the way back to last November, but catching up on stuff that I missed when I was doing the Santa Claus stuff. They have a new line. It's Epic series, and this like Epic Heroes.
I haven't seen this ever. This is my first time seeing this.
Oh, is it? These are 4-inch figures. So we normally have vintage collection at 3 3/4. These are 1/4 inch bigger. Or there's the Black Series, they're 6-inch. Well, here's the thing. These sell, the average price on these, just for a regular one, is $10.
Okay.
Vintage collection figures are now $17 to $25. Like these are $10. And then they have like deluxe ones that are $15. Still cheaper than your vintage collection. And what they're doing, they're trying to aim these more towards what maybe kids would actually want. So like you've got Darth Vader there.
I love how it has the art of the character over to the left. That's very that's pretty. But that white space around the logo and that logo, how boring. How awful does that look? That's just dead space. I don't understand that looks terrible on that part.
I don't disagree. Like, and if we had Rob, he would tell us how bad it was. But
put some color in that logo, man. I mean, come on. Like, what is that? Star Jedi font? Just write Star Wars and be like, oh, we're done.
One thing they do with the vintage collection of Black Series lines is they're tied to the specific point in time. Like you'll see something, Return of the Jedi, Luke wearing his whatever outfit, or you'll see Ahsoka from season 7 of Clone Wars on Mandalore or whatever. These are just generic. There's Darth Vader, the end, right? There's Ahsoka Tano. Simple. Yeah, it's simple. It's clean. Dale's right. I hit the wrong button. There's Mandalorian.
Right? Yeah. I mean, like I said, I love the art is so like on the left is so appealing. And then that logo on the card though, it's awful. I'm sorry. This is my first time seeing it. So I'm just like, I love half the card. It's so good. And then the other half is just, I don't think kids are minimalists, for the record. Kids don't appreciate ergonomics and simplicity and stuff like that. They want stuff coming out, like, you know what I mean? They want a bunch of stuff to look at. So that's it looks like worse on
the figures themselves I think are great. I like that Sabine Paz Vizsla. These are I could see them being things that kids would be, these aren't collectors driving the prices up for these. It's quite the opposite, right? These things are peg warming. They're showing up at
are they out now? Can we see those in the store already?
Yes. Yeah, they are. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them on Walmart. Some of these were
wherever Star Wars toys are sold.
Yes.
Okay.
Wherever Star Wars toys are sold. Yeah.
So
you shill. But they keep building out the line with different things. So these are heroes, and then they've got like villains and on and on. They're also Hasbro's doing the same series, this Epic line for Marvel and other franchises as well. So certainly they'll probably do it for their own franchises. You would imagine Hasbro owns several franchises that kids are watching. Transformers, for example. So There you go. I wanted to cover that because it is another line. They're 4-inch. The prices are where they should be for the vintage collection, but it's more what it's not what collectors are necessarily after, which allows them to produce just the popular characters for more volume, lower price. So that's the idea.
I wonder if that art on the side is going to like slow things down, like the Glup Shido concept. Are they going to do art for every Glup Shido, or does Glup Shido not make it onto the card?
Well, I think the thought here is that the cards are throwaway. These are not keep on card.
I'm talking about from a production point of view. Every single time you want to make a character, you want to make Prune Face. Now we got to go hire this artist to sit here to draw us Prune, as opposed to just photoshopping out some production art from a photograph of Prune Face. I wonder how much that ties that line's hand in the end of that look, and how if that's a problem or not. I don't know. It's just a when I see it though, that's what makes me go, oh, they're never gonna make whatever, because no one's going to want to pay artist to draw that.
I'm going to guess they have an in-house art department. They can throw out these things all day long.
Yeah.
And, if one employee turns over to another employee, that can still produce the same things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not going to be, And again, the idea here isn't that these are collecting items where you keep them on a card and put them on your wall or in a case.
And because of that, those are the ones that will become worth money in the future, because no one will keep them and they'll open them up and there will be less of them, as opposed to all of those vintage collection ones you've all spent $20 on. And when you get down to the space, they're probably worth about $4.99. Yeah. That's collecting. Just open your stuff and enjoy it, kids. So
there you go. There was my R5, right? I opened that. And I mentioned when I got it that I didn't get enough.
Can't get enough R5. Needs more R5s, guys.
Yeah, I got to keep the R5 on the card because it's vintage collection figure.
So Red 5 have had R5 in his thing. Wouldn't that have made more sense?
I just got another box from the Hasbro mothership. And guess what's in here? Guess what I have in the brand new box? Right? You already know, right? You already know what's in here. 2 more R5s.
What? One for me and me? You're so sweet, Santa.
So I was going to pick the best card. I'm going to keep it and just keep it in the thing.
Okay, then I'm careful Butterfingers, because you're about to make it the worst card.
True. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to take another one and I'm going to put it with my Mando setup over here.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take another one. I'm going to pop the head off of him, so I could put him in the back of the N1.
Oh, nice.
So because the N1 came with the hatch that only the head goes in. The whole droid doesn't fit in. It's got a little slot where you plug it in, just the head. So it's. I was like, why didn't they just include a head in there? Or why didn't they make it so you could put the whole body down in there? Because this is a great.
Jason knows how important head is.
Yeah, it's what I live for.
You guys. Oh my goodness! But look, this opens this way, where you can get things like I've got another Grogu down in here, and I've got there's Darksaber and different things are in here. Right, so you could have made this compartment where you put R5 in there and then close it down over top of, so that his head sticks out.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's not what they did.
Oh, okay. I thought you could just do that, and I was like, oh, that's nice. That's cool.
No, you take the Grogu out and put a different attachment on, and then it's got a peg for the head to attach to. That's it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, then they should have just put that in there. Anyway, so that's why this is what vintage collectors do, right? They buy, you got to have, multiples, so you keep one.
Right.
But what they're thinking with this Epic line is people won't do that. Right? You'll get one, you'll be done. So, all right. Hey, guys, I got to go. I've got code to write. If you guys want to hang out and visit for just a moment afterwards, you're more than welcome to. And for everybody who's here, I've got a Mike Porter dad joke to close out the day. Because what would you do if you didn't have a Friday Mike Porter dad joke, Star Wars dad joke? It says, who was the lesser known but fast Jedi family? Well, they're the Sky Runners.
Oh man,
Right. Not Skywalkers.
Mike Porter, change your name to the Chosen Pun. We can only tell you the right answer to this so many times.
Mike Porter, the Chosen Pun. That's right.
Mhm.
All right, you guys. Hey, thanks everybody for being here today. You two, thank you so much for the discussion. It went entirely different than what I had planned, but it was so much better. I only made it worse. But it was great to have you with me today. And look, I hope you all have a wonderful day. And until next time, my friends, Merry Christmas, and may the force be with you always. Bye-bye.